All right. Yay. Got my webcam to work. Okay, so today's Coffee with Christie. There's a really good question here. It is, hi, I'm super in tune with energy, and I left my room to make food, and I felt a very strange presence, and I got nauseous, and my heart started to beat rapidly. So I had to lay down on the couch until I could regulate my energy and my breathing and nausea. And then I realized that a mouse had been caught by a mouse trap. So I'm thinking maybe I was feeling the energy of the mouse's death. I used to get that same feeling when I would sense dark energies and spirits, so I'm thinking it may be related, and that those dark feelings I'm getting aren't necessarily bad. They are just coming from the spirit world. And somewhere subconsciously, the spirit world scares me, so that's why I perceive them as dark or bad or evil. Do you think I was sensing the mouse's death, or that it was something else? Because I almost thought I was having a heart attack, and I feel like that's probably how scared the mouse was as it was dying. Bam, young wizard. What a question with the answers right in it. And I thank you for sending that to me and giving me the opportunity to speak on my experience with these energies. So yes, it absolutely could be the mouse. Yeah, so, okay. One thing we need to understand right now, for those of us who are really sensitive and pick up energies that may or may not be ours, is that they are not all ours, okay? Everything is energy. And when you're a young wizard, like the person who wrote that question, like probably every one of you at one point who watched these videos today, and including myself, like, we don't have someone, it's not like you go to Hogwarts and then there's some teacher saying, hi, you're some badass wizard and I'm going to teach you all the energies and how to decipher which is which and, here you go. No, it doesn't work like that. How it usually works in this world is you feel energies that aren't yours, then your parents or somebody tells you to go to the doctor, then you end up at a psychiatrist, and then you end up taking pills, and you either have more craziness and more voices you can't decipher, or it cuts you off completely. So, I was in the latter group, and I'm sure most of you my age or older or whatever are, because, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have YouTube, we didn't have groups or anyone like supporting us or anyone to communicate with, right? We were just stuck in that little box, and if it's unexplainable, it must be some invisible disease. So number one, as a young warrior, you have to, and it, pardon me, it's not going to be easy, but you're going to be going through different series of tests, initiations rather, that will teach you how to decipher those energies. So for example, with the mouse, you know what that feels like now, right? So next time you feel that, instead of, your heart racing and thinking that, you better go to the doctor because you're going to have a heart attack and die or whatever, you know that, okay, this isn't me. This is something else I need to pay attention to, okay? The thing is, we're all really born, I believe, empathic with these abilities, right? Why does the military use children in their programs? Okay, because children are closer to the source. We haven't, well, at the time, we weren't as poisoned as adults are. Of course, that's changing with forced vaccinations and home visits and all of these things, teachers being able to diagnose children. So you need to know you're not crazy, but you also need to find a way to get your space and healing while you are learning this. Like, for example, I know a man who, a gentleman, older gentleman, and he is just learning about energies. And one time we were somewhere and we walked in this place and this chick was just like totally throwing darts. And I'm just like, getting all crippled and stuff. And he's just like, ugh. And then we got out of there and he said he wasn't feeling good. Like, I don't know, he had like a stomach ache or something like that. And I'm like, well, how did that feel with that chick throwing darts on you? Oh, that's what it is. Oh, yeah, I felt so. Okay, so you're going to go through these series of tests. Like, for example, every time you say, oh, man, I knew I shouldn't have done that. Or I knew I shouldn't have trusted that person. Or all of these things, like you're beating yourself up, right? Like there's something wrong with you. No, they're tests. They're initiations to teach you what the different energies feel like, okay? So your job as a young wizard is to remember that. So when you feel it again, you know where it's coming from. Now, all these energies are going to give you a different feeling. So that is our job, to be in touch with our feelings. And how do you do that when you're in a society that's full of people trying to tell you not to feel or take a pill or whatever? Do it anyways. We're human. Okay, that is what we are here for. I have expressed before how real emotion, energy in motion, that is the magic of everything. Okay? So, yes, it could be the mouse or whatever energies were going on over there. This particular person who sent this question, she was actually with me in a situation where I was totally being thrown darts at, and I didn't want to go do this thing I had to do, but she stepped up. She's like, I'll go with you. Like, okay, cool. Just, because sometimes it helps just to know that you're not crazy and that there is another witness and stuff. And unfortunately, you can't talk about these things with everyone, right? Because that's where you have your family trying to lock you up or go see this doctor or take this little pill or whatever. So if you are gifted with these gifts of whatever, perception, there's all different types of perception. So I don't really want to label it, but whether you feel it in your body, whether you hear it in your mind, whether you just know and don't even know why you know, or whatever it is, clairaudient, clairsentient, they're whatever. Okay. We all have these gifts of perception. Just some of us use them, believe them, and trust them more than others. So as these things come up, file it away in your brain, or maybe even write it down, and never, ever forget that. So next time you get that feeling, you're out, okay? Period. As far as feeling the mouse's death, I feel your pain. I know. I have that same blessing curse. And I feel other people's things, and for a lifetime I did not know that that's where it was coming from. So most of us, we go to the doctor and then get told we have some rare condition, or call it an autoimmune disease where our immune system is attacking itself, but that's not actually true. Our immune system is being attacked, but we're not doing it, okay? And what you need to understand about your immune system, you have your, the one that is commonly talked about, you have the sympathetic nerve system, and then the parasympathetic nerve system. What is the parasympathetic nerve system? That's your senses, everything beyond the 5 senses that we're not allowed to talk about, okay? So as we know, that everything that happens physically manifested, it started energetically, okay? So you have a spiritual immune system. And if you want to learn more about that, at least in normal 5-sense scientific reality, go search about stuff on the vagus nerve. Okay. So for purposes of this conversation, that's pretty much your spiritual immune system. So for example, when I was going through my rebirth and I had all these issues that I all of a sudden couldn't heal, that I used to be able to before with simple things like herbs and oils and juicing or things like that. It didn't work anymore because that was when I had to really start putting these things together and realize it wasn't mine. So it's a tough path, but it's rewarding. Especially when you become tuned into who and what you are. So again, we're not all the same. Okay, we all have different gifts. These energies you're picking up are not all yours. So you need to understand that right away. Everybody has energies. Everything has energies. This chair I'm sitting on, this desk, this everything. It was a tree. We all know trees have wisdom, right? Hello, every single thing is energy. So those of us that are super sensitive or intuitive or empathic or psychic or whatever you want to call it, whatever label, whatever word you want to use, it is of utmost importance to care for ourselves. And that's where self-love comes in handy. So, for example, when you feel that pain that knocked you out on the couch or whatever, like in normal society would be like, oh, you either go to the doctor or you suppress it and go do some distraction, whether it's alcohol or the gym or gambling or partying, or whatever it is that we do, right? You can't do that if you want to be able to understand, see who you are, and be able to use this in a way that can benefit others. Okay? Where was I going with that? So, when that happens, this is your time to practice self-love. Let's pretend it was, it did feel like a heart attack or whatever. What would you do if I was having a heart attack? You would probably, get me comfy. You'd probably draw me a bath. You'd probably get my favorite food or make sure that I had rest and shut out the lights and cut off wireless and like all of these things, right? What would you do for a baby that was going for that? What would you do for a puppy that was going through that? So you need to do that for yourself. And you also need to learn to be okay with setting boundaries, okay? Now, this is the thing. People are not going to understand. So you can't send messages like that to your boss or your parents or your children even, right? For the most part. Some families are cool and they're allowed to be who they are. But in most of society, we're not. So you're going to have to be your own mommy, daddy, caretaker, nurturer, whatever. And that's part of the path. So when things like that happen and, you're integrating, what is this? Where did this come from? It is of utmost importance. Maybe you need to hole up in a cave until you understand it. And when you're freaking like, dude, even at my age, I don't even always understand it right away. I still have to hole up for a week or sometimes 2. To try to understand, okay, where are these energies? I know they're not mine. I know that, right? So be gentle with yourself. Give yourself the time to process these things. And once you know what they are, then hopefully you remember. And you always know. And that will definitely come in handy, especially, hello, as a targeted individual and stuff. How did I get to stay a step ahead of other people that were trying to hurt me, or the cops that, went after, whatever, my boss and the dude at the storage unit and saying I'm rolled over in a ditch and, how did I know to get out like that? How? So this is the thing. Just knowing and having that gift isn't enough. You have to act on it. That's right. And the more you act on it, the more you're going to receive. And here's why. Those of us who don't act on it end up with diagnoses like anxiety or autoimmune. And I was one of those people, by the way. Okay. But all those are simply telling you is that you are not paying attention to something around you, okay? That your actions are not matching, they're not in alignment with your spirit, with your soul path, okay? And we do that all the time, right? All of us do. So if you really are on the path, you're going to reduce all of those situations, right? One at a time until you have none left. So yes, it is of utmost responsibility to care for yourself and feed yourself properly, man. You can't forget this. Part of self-love, okay? It's not like, oh, well, I'm just going to drink a beer and eat a pizza and eat a whole bunch of ice cream and have some fun. No, it's not. Like, and especially if you drive, dude, you know how much work you have to put into your car, how many different proper fluids it needs. Do you go give it fucking lemonade? Do you go pour Pepsi in your gas tank? Do you go freaking put, you know, genetically modified microwaved foods in the transmission? Transmission. Boom. There you go. You want clear, coherent transmissions? Clean that shit out, okay? So getting back to self-love and how it relates to keeping your temple clean, nutritionally wise, dude, if you know what's up, you have no excuse. Period. Okay? End of story. And your higher self, your spirit isn't going to be like, oh, this person keeps ignoring the intuition we're giving him. And this person keeps filling up their pineal gland with fucking poison. So here, we're just going to give her more gifts. No, it doesn't work like that. Keep your temple sacred. Keep it clean. No. Yeah, I get people like to, oh, I don't know where there's a health food store or this, you know, there's no one in this whole big city I live in. Bullshit, dude. I've driven up to 2 hours to find good, healthy, organic food, etc. in different places I've lived. Why? Because I know this is a sacred temple. And I want it to work properly, just like my vehicle. I want to be able to walk outside and get in my car and go somewhere. Well, I want the same with my body too. So if you want everything working healthfully, all together, transmitting properly, receiving properly, you have to feed it properly. Okay? So not just food. What else are you taking in? What are you watching on the computer? What are you watching on TV? What are you listening to on the radio? What kind of groups are you in? What kind of people do you hang out with? What kind of churches do you go to? Whatever, right? So it's not just the food you're eating, it's the energies around you. So when you are choosing to stay in a parasitic, abusive environment, you're just saying, okay, parasites, go ahead. I don't really care about my senses anymore, and I don't want to know what this is. And you know what? That's okay. I totally get it, because you know what? I even admitted this the other day on Peace Stealer's show. I begged God, whatever I thought it was at early 20s, to take my freaking gifts away. Why? Because it was painful. Because, yeah, I know what it's like to be dead on the fucking couch feeling like you're dying when a mouse got caught in a trap. And I also know how crazy making it is when you try to tell someone and you try to understand it and wait a minute, why am I picking this shit up? What the hell is going on here? Okay, it's not easy to be born a magician and not know it. Okay, so now that you know, what are you going to do about it? Make baby steps every single day. If you're drinking fucking soda and supporting corporations that you know use slave labor and that are hurting people, whatever, contributing to war, genocide, etc., dude, as within, so without. You're putting that garbage in. What do you think is going to come out? So my point is with that, deciphering these energies are going to be less and less accurate until they don't exist anymore. As in the case, what happens when people take pills for a long time. Yes, they deaden your senses, your frontal lobes. Even mainstream media reported on the fact that over the counter, like 600 pills over the counter, like deaden your compassion. Yeah, like actual real mainstream studies. Okay, go look it up. Tylenol, shit like that. So those other more powerful things, it just gets worse. So, and you know, I'll ask you this. Do you know anyone on pills who's ever gotten better? Or, on the contrary, maybe a year or two later, they're taking multiple pills and now have multiple diagnoses. Really, it's like a modern day witch hunt, honestly. So it's always like the talented, they call them hyperactive or whatever children that know things, and, you know, the parents or teachers want to just shut them up, or, you know, yeah, that's what happens. So then they get on drugs, and then they no longer have that power of foresight or whatever it is that they were gifted with. Yep. So, yeah, I think that's about all I can share on that. Thank you. Love you. And we'll see you next time. Bye.